So let's go on to our next sounds, the sounds d and t. Again, these have exactly the same mouth shape, but one of them we engage our vocal cords, and that's the sound d. This is normally the letter D, d. Just like with the letter b, you can feel the pressure building up with your vocal cords behind your teeth this time, instead of your closed lips. D, d. Your tongue will normally be touching the roof of your mouth, d. And then that helps you hold back the pressure before you release it. Some examples of words might be dish, duck, down. What about the sound t? As you'll notice, no vocal cords here. T. Now this sound is a very important one to practice because this is one that is typically recognised as being very British. And why? Because in Britain we have afternoon tea. The Queen has high tea. And this sound, t, is quite different to the way it is pronounced in other parts of the world. In Europe, this sound will often be pronounced like ta, ta, with the tongue up behind the front teeth and the teeth apart, ta. But in English, in British English, teeth together. And then we have this very sharp t sound. This is worth practicing. This will identify you as somebody who speaks a good British accent. So, some practice words. Tuck, tip, tab. One important thing to mention here is that, sadly, as with some of our other sounds, the letter D is sometimes pronounced with a t sound. This will normally be at the end of a word when you have ed. Sometimes it's pronounced like a normal d sound, but sometimes it's pronounced like a t sound. What are some examples? If we're talking about something passing you, we will say, this car passed me. P-A-S-S-E-D. Passed. Some other examples are itched, scratched. You will notice in these examples that we don't pronounce the E sound at all. The T is almost like an extra consonant that links directly to the consonant before it. Passed. It's almost like s, t. Now some of these it may take time to know which ones are pronounced like a T, whereas some are pronounced more like a D. Sacred, fed. These are ones where you hear the E sound before the last letter. So hopefully you will get used to these as you go through. This is to give you a pattern which you will be able to notice two different variations of, and then you'll know whether to make the sound d or t. We'll come back to some more practice ones later on. And importantly, this is one that can commonly be mistaken. So we'll discuss these sounds a little bit more later on in our common mistakes category. But for now, let's move on to the next sounds.